Welcome everybody to Women Encouraging Women LLC. I will be your host, Heidi Lee Morgan DeBartolomeis. And today I am here with a beautiful young lady named Lillian Johnson. Lillian Johnson is 48 years old and she has been married for over 17 years. She has two beautiful daughters. She's an EMT. She also teaches it. And I'm going to interrupt her today at the fire station and see if we can get some information from her. So come with me. Hello, Lillian.
Hello.
Thank you very much for joining me.
Hello.
So, Lillian, I drive by here all the time. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about this fire station?
Okay, so this fire station has been here, I believe, since the late 50s. And a few years ago, we added the renovation. This was our main fire department, the main bays for our trucks, and we had to expand it. As trucks get bigger, we need more room. We have a great group of people here. We have many members that come in, mostly firemen, and we also have first responders. So we go out to scenes before the ambulance gets here and helps with medical emergencies, and then we also go out, of course, to fires and motor vehicle accidents.
Tell our viewers, as I was reading through this, you are an EMT,
Yes.
but you also are an instructor. How many years have you been doing this?
I have been an EMT since 1989. And
You don't look it.
Sometimes I feel it, but I became an EMT. I became a volunteer for Miller Rescue Squad, and I got my EMT that same year. And then I was one of the first paid members of the rescue squad, and then I became an instructor. And we started the training academy, which is now at Inspira Millville division there, and I still instruct with them now. So we've been doing that since 2003.
It's a very long time. You gotta love what you do.
I do love what I do.
And I am sure you've seen a lot in the years.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's move on a little bit to some of your highest points of your life. Because when I come out to interview my ladies, I already know because they send me a biography and she's got an incredible testimony here, but I want her to tell in her words, what are some of your highest points of your life?
Well, becoming an EMT that was totally not the path I was going to take. And I was convinced to go down to volunteer, and I just found a home. I found people that I just loved being around and that became family to me. And then meeting my husband, that was a little bit later in life. I had already been through some relationships, had already been divorced, and I met him when I was 29. And then, we had some struggles having babies. So when I got my girls, in 2008, we got both of them within 2 weeks of each other. So I went from no children, we became foster parents, which is awesome. And then when we got Destiny, she was 6.5 months old, and then the next week I got Alyssa. So, and Alyssa was a newborn. So we went from no kids to 2 babies in the house. It was insane for a very long time, but they are amazing. They're 12 years old. Actually,
I was going to ask you, how old are they now?
Destiny turned 13 yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yes, and Alyssa is 12 and a half.
Oh.
So yeah.
So middle school?
Yes, middle
ages?
school. They'll be
Yes.
7th and 8th grade this year.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your highest point.
It is.
What about your lowest point?
Well, my lowest point, there's a few. I lost my mom when I was 10, which was hard, and you don't really realize how hard it is until you're getting older. At 10, you don't really understand the finality of that, but then as you get older and you realize, wow, she's not here.
Do you mind if I ask how she passed?
She had cancer.
I'm very sorry.
She had ovarian cancer.
Oh.
So, and at the time, there wasn't a lot of emphasis on women getting checked and things like that. And, so it went unnoticed for a long time. And it's what happened. So I am number 5 of 6 kids. So I had a 6-year-old sister, and, it became me and my little sister and my dad for a long time. He remarried once, bad situation, and then he remarried again, and we got blessed with the most wonderful stepmother in the world. And she was with us from our teens on up until a few years ago when she passed. So that was rough, because then we had this bond with this woman who gave us a little bit of our mom back, because she gave us a lot of information that my dad didn't talk a lot. And she was able to get a lot of things from, learn a lot of things from my dad that helped us get through some of the times that we were missing our mom. And she really honored our mom. And that made us so
And
much
that made
closer
you
to her.
bond her?
It did.
Yeah,
It did.
because she wasn't there to replace, she was there to be part of your
Right.
family.
And we called her mother. I could never
That's
just call her mom,
beautiful.
but we
Aw.
called her mother, you know, and that took time. And she had, we actually built a house on our homestead, on our property that my dad had, and put an in-law suite in for my dad and my stepmom to live with us as they were getting older. And my mom, my mother, she had a lot of health issues and had been in failing health a year or two before she passed, to the point where she was very frustrated. She was on kidney dialysis, and it was a lot for her to be on dialysis. It took a big toll on her. And she decided that she just didn't want to do that anymore, and she didn't want to just keep going through parts of her life being taken from her. So she made a very brave decision. And we all supported her. My sisters, my stepsisters were amazing with her. They were like, this is what Mom wants to do, you know, we're gonna support her. And it was fantastic those last 2 weeks that we had with her.
How long ago was that she passed?
2016,
So
November.
the same year as my mom. Okay,
Yeah.
my mom passed in September, and when my mom was given and she was sick for years, so I can feel your pain.
Yeah.
Because my mom, when she was given the last diagnosis, it was a Monday, that Saturday she passed. She was given the diagnosis. She looked at me and she says, "I told you I don't want to live this way." She had gastroparesis due to her diabetes. She's like, "I'm not living this way. I'm done." And that Monday and Tuesday, I literally spent 24 hours a day with her, going over what she wanted.
Yeah.
And it was hard, but you do, and it was an honor of my mother. So I totally understand. They get to a point that they're just tired,
Yes.
and they want to go home.
And she was exhausted.
How old was she?
I can't even think off the top of my head. I want to say she was 74.
Okay, around my mom's
Right
age.
around there.
Yeah.
And she had, to my great, just my great joy was that she found peace in God. And she said, I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't do that. And that made me feel so good. And then one day she said to me, you know, we had a lot of conversations in that. She did with everybody. We had a steady stream of people. She was known and loved by so many people. And she said, I'm finally going to get to meet your mom.
Did that make you cry?
And
I know that would have made me cry.
I believe that in my heart. Like that was a moment for me where I believed that she really truly knew what she was doing, and that she had such peace with it. And that really helped me.
And that helped you let go so she could go home.
And my girls were there. I mean, it was hard, but it was such an honor. You know, you don't get that honor to have that with someone, and that peacefulness in that. So we were all blessed. You know, all of our family was around. When it actually happened, some of them had went home and they came right back. You know, and it just was a blessing those last 2 weeks that we had with her, as hard as it was.
What a testimony.
Yeah.
Now, so as I said, I always review, and there's so much. She could write a book because of her trials and tribulations and how she made it through. So I asked for the highs, the lows. What got you through? We started talking a little bit about that.
It was my faith.
Your faith.
Certainly. I mean, I pray continually. I believe that. But, you know, there were times when I was angry at God, and I talked to my pastor at the time about it. Like when I had 3 pregnancy losses, and that was tough. You know, that last one was like, why? You know, my sisters all had babies. Like people were having babies around me. Here I am, you know, not able to do it. And it put a lot on our marriage, like in terms of I did, obsessed with this, you know, let's get pregnant, let's try to get pregnant, what are we gonna do next? And I got very angry, and I went and talked to my pastor, and he said, that's okay. He said, as long as you know he's still there for you. And I had to work through that, but my faith totally has given me so much more to my life to make me be able to just say, I can get through this. I can get through anything. Even at my lowest point, I just pray. You know, that's the first thing I do. You know, when I'm on Facebook and somebody says, please pray, I'm like, praying, I am. You know, I am.
Agree. I do the same thing.
You know, I say a little prayer, and then I try to remember my list of who I said I was going to pray for later. But God knows, He always knows, and that's my comfort. That's what, He always knows, and He knows me, and He knows my timing. He knew that Destiny and Alyssa were meant to be mine. And for whatever reason those struggles came from, and I believe that I have three babies waiting for me in heaven, and I believe that, that trial brought me to where Destiny and Alyssa were. And I had lost another foster kid that I thought I was going to be able to have. I had him at a day old. My heart broke, I was shattered. And then in comes this amazing girl, and today I'll even say to her, remember when, and she don't remember, she was 6.5 months old, and I'll say, this is your story, when they brought you to me and you came through the door, and she says, I held you like I never wanted to let go. Like she knows that in her heart, and I'm like, baby, I held you like I never wanted to let go, and then the next week we had to listen, and then it was like we didn't know what was going on for like 3 years, because it was just crazy. But God knew that, I didn't know it, and sometimes I didn't trust it, sometimes I was frustrated and angry. And that's what I try and tell people who are struggling through something like that, through infertility or whatever. There's a plan, you just don't know it. You don't know what that plan is, but you have to find a way to trust in it, even when you're frustrated.
Lillian, don't you find that, because I always think of when Jesus was hanging on the cross, and He even questions, like, why have you forsaken me?
Right, sure.
We're entitled to that feeling because we're human beings. But then it's coming back to His will be done, not ours, and there's a greater plan, and we can either choose to be victorious over it or a victim.
Yeah.
And you have chosen to be victorious through your faith with this, which I think is incredible.
Yeah.
What transpired because I know you had, from what I read, with the one young lady, with your one daughter, and then, like you said, a couple weeks later, the other one. Can you give a little bit of information about that?
I can.
What transpired, if you don't
she's
mind?
very open as well.
It was beautiful.
She's very open. She heard of us. I never met her. She had heard of us, and I had been pregnant the year before, about the same time she became pregnant with Alyssa, and had lost the baby. And she said, when I heard that you lost the baby, I knew my baby was for you. And there was some, believe it or not, she found my phone number in the phone book. Like,
that's when we all looked at the phone book, because I was over.
So she
we don't
called,
even use the phone book now.
because
That's
she didn't,
cool.
She didn't want everybody to know what was going on. So she found our phone number. She didn't want to go up and say, hey, I need Bill's number. I want to, she just wanted to keep it between us at first. And she called, and she said, it was 10:30 on a Tuesday night, and she said, do you and your husband still want to adopt a newborn? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like watching Law and Order, and I'm eating some cookies, and I'm having some tea. And Destiny's sleeping, and all is well in my world. And she said, well, my water just broke. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I got some help for Destiny, because my husband had to work the next morning, and he said, is this for real? And I said, I don't know. I said, but God had her call me, I'm going to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, I got there around midnight, and we talked all night, and I actually ended up being in the room. Which for me, I had always dreamed that, because we had started adoption processes, and I had always hoped that I would be able to be one of the first ones to see my baby, but I never thought that I would be there.
But see how good God is, where He allowed that to happen for you, because you didn't make the phone call, she came after you.
Yes.
So a new level, a new devil, and that being said, it was meant for you. Like your calling.
It was, and we have a relationship now. Alyssa has a relationship with her siblings. They love her. They love Destiny. We're very blessed in that, because that can't always happen. We do know Destiny's mom, and we've had some relation with her. Destiny has seen her siblings years ago. We're trying to find time when we can do that again. But it's a blessing that we have that connection still. My girls are completely understanding of being adopted, and they kind of wear it with a badge. Like I'm here. Like this. There's so much love surrounding it. My family, you don't think of them any differently, our family, Eric's family, they're our girls. That's it, and it's an interesting story that they're so close in age. I have to explain it. I'm like, they're 7 months apart. Because people say, oh, are they twins? And I'm like, no, they're 7 months apart. And they're racially different. My one daughter is biracial, and then my other daughter is white and blonde, and we have these kids, and they're dressed alike, and people are like, what's going on? Like, how is all this? So it's a good story, and it shows that you can love. Like
That's the
you know,
ultimate gift.
and it's not for everybody. I will say that my husband was very open to this from the beginning. But I've heard stories of people not being so open to adoption because they want a child of their own, and that's fine. They go through it a different way. I have a friend that has twins through in vitro, and that's fantastic. It's still just lifting up. It's still these beautiful children and how they got here. So we try to honor all of that. We try to respect, and
It's a life.
yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
life that has significance in this world.
Yeah.
And I think babies they're not a curse, they're a blessing.
No, I completely agree.
And I think your testimony on what you went through and where you're appreciating it, because there's some mommies out there that get overwhelmed of the struggles of the day, and I just tell them, this too shall pass, which was a famous expression my mom always made. Enjoy that ride, because before you know it, they're 18.
And I tried to
and they're all
embrace that,
grown.
but
They're
man,
only 18 short years of being a baby.
Yes.
And it's just like I would tell my daughter when she was little, 8 years old, I would say, Bella, subtract 18 from 8. That's 10, Mommy. I said, okay, now take 88 from 18. That's 70, Mommy. I said, yes. If you are blessed to live to 88, that's 70 years of being an adult, you can never get back your childhood. So you have 18 short years, embrace it. And she had.
That's
she
great.
did.
That is great. My kid, and I have trials. I have my meltdowns, and I yell a little too much, and then I take a step back, and I'm like, all right, let's reevaluate this. But my girls are just like, yeah, Mom, we're still trying. We're teenagers now. Like, we're trying to get through some things now. I can't even imagine what the next few years are going to be. But I try to enjoy it. I try to make sure we're spending time. We play a game or watch a movie together or whatever it is, or just sit and talk. They don't like that too much. But I try to just be present. Like, my husband and I are just present, and I think that's so important in these days.
I agree.
And some people can't. They have, I'm fortunate right now. I'm not working full time, so I get to spend time with my girls, and that's a blessing. My husband was so on board with that, and I can't be more thankful or more grateful than that for that. But it's tough. It's tough sometimes.
If there's any advice you could give our young women and us mature women out there through your trials and tribulations, what would that be? What advice could you give the world out there on to be the best them? What advice would you give?
First and foremost is surround yourself with good people. I have the support system of the most amazing friends and family. And when we're called to lift each other up, we do it without hesitation. And that is the key. I think that's just such a big thing, is having even just one person that lifts you up no matter what. We have a no judgment zone. My friends are like, we don't judge. You want to let your kids have electronics, you let your kids have electronics. If you don't, that's fine too. We really try to stick to that, like, no judgment. Doesn't always happen, we're human, and sometimes we think our way's better, but and then we find out it's not usually. But we can bounce that off of each other. So having people there when you're at your lowest, and somebody's sweeping your floor while you're on your couch crying because your parents just passed away or whatever, and that's just so monumental. And your faith, is knowing that God does have a plan for you, and you can be mad, and you can be angry, and you can be sad, but dig your way out of it. Don't stay there. Don't stay there. Find that blessing, and that's what I always try to do when I'm at my lowest moment. As I told you, my brother and my dad passed away on the same day too, and that was a hard hit.
I read that.
And my brother and we were estranged. We were only back together for about 7 months when that happened. So that's the other thing too. If you have family that you're not, that you're not connected with, find a way to do that if you can. And I know that you always can't, but find a way if you can, because we lost so much precious time.
Forgiveness.
Yes, forgiveness.
And even though you might forgive them and you're thinking to yourself, well, what did I do for them to be upset? You might not ever know.
Yeah.
But you can't soften the heart. Right. All you can do is the right thing on, okay, I'm going to pray for them, and I'm going to try.
Yeah.
and you keep on trying no matter how many times you get smacked in the face, right?
Yeah, I just wish, and we had a lot of, there was some real struggles there, and I just wish we had found that place to be able to connect before that. But I really think that you have to count your blessings in the middle of all of that. So when I'm really having a problem, I'll say, all right, let me start naming what's good. And that's huge,
Yes.
And it could just
Gratitude.
be like,
giving
you know
the
what?
gratitude.
Yeah,
And
I
that lifts you,
paid
right?
my cable so I can sit and watch a TV, watch a show that I want today.
Yeah.
Or, I try
You
to
have
just the little
electricity.
things. It's not always the big things. It's
Right.
not always like, whatever, but I know that my air conditioner's on. Thank the Lord it's hot out,
Right.
And I try to count those blessings. And of course, you count your kids laughing. You count, all those little things that mean so much. But there's so many other things to be blessed that you're blessed with, that I can order takeout tonight, or I can make somebody else happy because I have a big enough dinner that I can take some
You
dinner
can
over
share.
to my neighbor. That's a blessing. So that's what I try to instill that on my kids and these middle school girls. Lift each other up. They don't
Yes.
get it. They don't.
Yeah.
And I'm trying, and I really try to. Like, you gotta lift people up, whether you like them or not.
Right,
Don't
right.
be disrespectful.
You have to find a common ground, and having a daughter, I totally understand that. Watching, and then I taught, so dealing with these young ladies from pre-K to 8th grade, their hormones are going crazy, they mature much quicker than boys, and they get into that, I don't like saying it, but a catty stage, and you have to work them through it, and say, you gotta accept them, that's their personality, that's how they are. This is, find a common ground. There's no reason to be bashing, you should be encouraging each other.
Or at
Absolutely.
the very least, don't bash,
Don't bash.
Don't let other people.
No, absolutely.
Stand up,
Yes, stand up for
them.
somebody that's getting bullied.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because there's no place in this world for that.
Because they're inundated with so much stuff, and they're desensitized to a lot of things. I found things that appalled me, like, I cannot believe you said that. Well, why? It's in a song. What songs are you listening to? And they just don't get that what they just said could damage somebody forever, and could really put somebody's heart in a bad place. And I try to explain that to them, like, you don't break people down.
So I'm 54, and I know two things. As I was growing up, that we would get a mouth smacked.
Oh,
If
sure.
we said the suck word, and now they just use it as an adjective.
Yeah.
Listen, I curse like a sailor. We all know that. Anybody that knows me
I do.
knows
That's
that.
one of my-
That's where I sin. But it's so funny. We weren't allowed to say the suck word. I don't know where my mom's hand. She was like Stretch Armstrong. It would make it through 3 walls and tap mine or my sister's mouth. The other thing that they use as an expression now is the word "shut up."
Yeah.
I still don't
do not
use
like
that.
shut up.
Oh my gosh, we would get into so much trouble. They'll say "shut up," and they don't mean it in a negative way. We would get into so much trouble. And again, my mom's hand, Stretch Armstrong, boom, find it around the wall. Now, when my mom and dad dropped the F-bombs, of course, that was okay. But those 2 words we would get our mouths smacked over. And the kids today there's nothing wrong with it. It's just how times have changed and how things are more acceptable than not. We were taught shut up was very disrespectful. You don't do that. It's not even giving them room around themselves because we have that perimeter. So you can say, just give me a minute, like choose other words instead of saying shut up.
I agree.
Because it can be so
And even the
mean.
way that they speak, it sounds disrespectful.
Right.
And I said, do you speak to your teachers like this? And they're like, we don't talk like this. And I'm like, it just sounds so disrespectful.
Desensitized, like you said, totally
Yeah.
desensitized. Okay, so before we go to the floor to do ab works, can you explain? I'm gonna zoom this in. Zoom, 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 zoom. So here we go, okay? First annual motorcycle raffle. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, for one thing,
Let's get back a little bit so you can be in the camera.
We do standbys at our races, and because of COVID-19, we haven't had as many races this year. So we really need to get this out. But we have tickets, they're $10 each. The drawing will be in October. It is for a CRF 110, a 2020 motorcycle. And it all funds, it goes to our fire department and our members for things that we do here that, doesn't go through the taxpayers. It goes through for things that, help our members be better members in our department and spend time together and have that camaraderie so that we can, work efficiently together. But our ticket, our drawing will be October 4th, and you know, we're selling these. You can find us on Facebook. There's a phone number. You can, you know, get a hold of me through Facebook or any of our members, and you know, we'd be happy to get the tickets for you. And we would be so appreciative if you would consider, you know, getting a ticket from us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to put this down. I want to shake your hand. We're going to go to the ground. So when we return back from this short break, she is going to demonstrate 4 ab exercises, because you guys know that's what I am known for in the area. And I want to thank you from my heart to yours for sharing your story.
I appreciate it.
And stay tuned, fans. All right, welcome back, everybody. Lillian is now going to be my volunteer, and we're going to demonstrate 4 ab exercises. So Lillian is laying flat on the ground on our yoga mat, and her heels are going to be up. Her knees are slightly bent. She's going to bring her arms over her head. Don't go all the way back. Keep them in alignment with your shoulders. Try to straighten them. Straighten those arms. Now she's going to pulse up, keeping her chin open to the heavens, lifting her shoulders. Go back down and sweep to the side. And come up as you're sweeping, like this, and then go back down flat. So exhale, down, exhale, sweep. Go back, give me one more. Flutter up, bring it down, and give me a sweep crunch. So that's exercise number 1. What I like about that is it's hitting your upper abs, and when you're doing this sweep around, now you're hitting your outer obliques. So exercise number 2 is going to be figure 4. So Lillian's going to stay in the position she is. She's going to bring her right leg on top of her left. She's going to lift her hips up to the heavens, give it a push, get that foot off of the ground. So lift, get this foot off of the ground, lift with your, now lift it up. Now lift your hips.
I don't know if I can.
You did. And then bring it down. Do it again. Lift, lower abs, and bring it down. So you're gonna do 10 that side, and then she's gonna switch legs, and then she's not gonna do all 10. She's gonna bring the left leg up, lift the hips up, and then bring it down, lift the hips up, and bring it down. And you feel that all lower ab, right? Don't forget to breathe. My people need to breathe. I don't want anything happening to my people. So you're gonna flip over very carefully, and she's going to give me a high plank. So a high plank is where your hands, oops, let's straighten this out for you, doll. All right, so your hands are directly under your shoulders. She's going to flex up, tilt your pelvic down, perfect plank position. Now bring your right leg out to your left. That's it, beautiful Spider-Mans, high Spider-Mans, and exhale, bend the knee as you're doing it. Pull the knee in, good, bring it back, pull the knee in, and bring it back, drop to your knees, keeping yourself safe. So that is a high plank Spider-Man. Now, she's going to lay on her belly, and instead of doing regular Supermans today, we are going to do chin lifts. So she's going to bring her hands underneath her chin, and first she's going to pulse up her upper body, raise, release, then lower body, raise, release. Raise the upper body, release, raise the lower body, and release. So doing those 2 separate, you're hitting your upper back, that wonderful bra area that we all struggle with, and then the lower area, lifting up the glutes and your lower back, strengthen it. Lillian, can you turn to the camera, please? Mm-hmm. So again, Lillian, if they want to get tickets, where can they get the tickets?
You can get them on Facebook. You can contact us through our Facebook page or one of our members. You can contact Eric Johnson at 856-297-8444 or any one of our members.
So if I wanted to become an EMT and wanted to take courses, where can I do that so I can have you as my instructor?
You can contact Inspira in Millville. They run the EMS Academy for the area, for Cumberland County, and you can contact them through their website or call the main number, which I'm not sure what it is now because they've changed quite a bit there. And you can contact Diana Hansel. They also have a Facebook page. It is called CESTA, C-E-S-T-A, and that stands for Community and Emergency Services Training Academy. You can go through there, and there's usually a list of our coming classes on there.
I want to thank you very, very much from my heart to yours for sharing your testimony. So women, young ladies, women our age out there, just know this. We all have a story. Don't let anyone blackmail you. Be victorious, not a victim. Rise up and above. Love yourselves. And remember, pass it forward one woman at a time.
Yes.
Peace out.